Welcome back to the Movie Marathon Men. I'm Owen Garner.
And I'm Luke Carr.
And we watch movies that make us go, So today we're doing another episode of Saga Wars, and we've been covering Mad Max, but today it's Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. So, Luke, let's jump into it. Your initial thoughts on Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior.
Yeah, so when this film started, I let out a sigh. And then I've written my notes with a big arrow of relief.
Yeah.
It was immediately better than 1 for me.
Yeah.
Like, I was... actually, maybe the very intro was a bit sort of presentation-y. But, ignoring that, it was straight into action. The world was full. Yeah. It was crazy. It was consistent. It was great. Like, loved it.
I really enjoyed the presentation-y opening. So you had the square format of the telly, old newsreel style, and I thought that the way that they blended real-world footage with the archive footage from Mad Max was so clever, because it does this thing where it's like, this is all true. I was really excited to see where this universe was going to be.
And it's worth saying as well, if people haven't seen this film, it is now the apocalypse.
Yes.
It's happened. Off screen. That's fine.
Yeah.
So Mad Max was the edge of society falling apart. This is after that. Society has fallen.
Yeah, so I was so excited to see this universe. And I've written that it's a really interesting time. And I was hoping to see this world further into the heart of darkness.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely what we get.
Yeah.
It's just straight out of the gate. We're in it. It's this, which is so exciting. We see the marks on the world, the scavengers and marauders.
Yes.
You can see how they're going to rise.
It's world building straight away by introducing characters. Like you're introduced to the gyro pilot. I don't know if he has a name, does he?
No, I think that is what he's called.
Yeah.
That's what he's credited as the gyro pilot.
You're introduced to him in such a way that tells you everything you need to about the world.
Yeah.
But where Max is.
But doesn't that tell you something about the world? Never asks his name.
No.
It doesn't matter. Max is a nomad, sort of wandering through the wasteland. And you have these interactions, where stuff like that happens. Guzzling.
Yeah.
Love guzzling.
Yeah.
Just little changes like that. Unless Australians do just call it guzzling.
I was wondering that. Because in Fury Road they call it guzzling.
Yeah.
And there it is definitely guzzling with a U.
Yeah.
In this one, when Mel Gibson said it, I was like, is he just saying gasoline wrong?
Yeah.
Because we discussed in the last one how he can't speak.
Yeah.
So I was a bit confused.
You see complete layers of society, tribes, gangs, whole established societies.
This is it. It's established in the way that in the last film, the biker gang just kind of lounged around.
Yeah.
Like you would cut to them and they just kind of be asleep on the floor, just sort of sat around doing nothing, just sort of waiting for some ruckus to cause.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, they're in. I think they might still be some of them in camps, like just living in the world.
Yeah.
But obviously, the main people that we spend time with are in a sort of town.
Yeah, they're in
It's like the start of people rebuilding something out of nothing.
It's an oil refinery, a gas plant, whatever. They're making fuel.
Yeah.
And they have a town built around that. And then there are the marauders who sort of camp in different places, and they do. But you're starting to see how society is being reconstructed and what new form it's taking. One of the best explosions that I've ever seen in a film ever. Yeah. Insane. And we probably can't put it in as a clip. That's just going to have to be a tease because it's kind of a bit of a spoiler. But it's insane. And there are just things that this movie did. And it's like, this is his second film.
Yeah.
And it's already so much like... This feels like, okay, here's what I actually wanted to do.
Yeah, like here's a budget.
Yeah. Like
this.
The proof of concept of Mad Max, they were like, okay, yes, that, but more, please. So, up first, we've got story. Mm-hmm. So, what have you given?
I gave it a very respectable 8.
Right, yep.
Because it's not a complex story. It serves the plot. The world is incredible. The story itself is just sort of an excuse to show off the world, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've said that we learn so much so quickly I love the recap, as I've said.
Yeah.
I think that that's absolutely brilliant. It brings us right up to where we want to be. Because watching the first film, you're sort of thinking, oh, this is fun, this is cool.
I wanted this.
But I kind of want to see what it's like when it's worse. And this film, like, just sort of hits the fast forward button at the start and goes, here we are.
Yep.
Right where you wanted to be.
And that's also why we said you don't need to watch 1, because this film just tells you what happened after 1. Like, it's basically saying you don't even need to know what happened in 1. This film tells you the little bits you need to know about why he's who he is. Yeah. Because we don't really know that from 1 either.
For me, I've said that the structure is perfect. It's simple and so tight. Yeah. We get update, action, mission, new purpose, final act.
It's that
resolution.
It's that hero's journey sort of thing.
Yeah, it is. This is Campbell's hero's journey, and it's such a tight structure. It knows what it wants to do, which the first film doesn't. At points, it has things that it wants to get to. It feels more improvised. You know, it feels like, okay, it's improv comedy. Yeah. Here are the bits that we want to hit. We'll let you have 5 runs at this, and we'll leave in all the best jokes. Whereas this one, it was like, no, you're doing this. This is your structure. Yeah. You've got to take us from here to there.
Yes.
So for me, it's a 10.
I think that's fine. Yeah. I think that's reasonable.
And I think your 8...
You've reasoned it.
Yeah, your 8 is very respectable. I personally think it should be higher. But there we are. Agree to disagree. That's fine.
I don't know if I agree about that.
So, let's move on to our next category, and that is character.
Yes. Mine is a 9.
Not
just because it rhymes.
No, justify that.
Oh, right.
Do more rhyming.
Do more rhyming. Character. I'll pick a better word there. Max. Good. Facts. Gyro. I know it was good.
Yeah, I love the gyro
I'm
pilot.
Gonna cut all of that. That was terrible.
The gyro captain. No, that has to stay in. That has to stay in because of stuff that you've left in of me coughing and spluttering. The character for me, I've said as a 10. I think that everyone is so unique, so interesting, but they make perfect sense for this world.
Yeah,
you know
they do. Yeah,
they're all so like different and wacky in their own ways. Max, far more compelling in this film. Yep. Far more interesting. He's this sort of quiet loner, which he is in the first one, but it makes more sense in this one. You know, he's this sort of moody, quiet loner. Like, he knows how to do things. He's there. He knows his skills. He knows that like people need him.
I find it interesting how Max, despite being called Mad Max, is often not mad in comparison to everyone else.
He's one of the most sane people in this world.
He's probably both. But is it mad is he angry? Or is he crazy?
He gets crazy down the line.
He does get crazy down the line.
So
he starts off quite angry.
I think maybe George Miller just came up with the title and he was like, that's great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how much you hate children. So there is a child in this.
That was, I will say, not a low spot sounds harsh, but I still didn't enjoy it that much.
No, the child is what kind of lets it down, but by the nature of the kid, it's feral kid. Yeah. They don't actually have lines. They're just sort of there as a plot device, kind of really. Yeah. They're to make Max the begrudging father figure again.
Yep.
I don't mind it. Whereas sometimes when there are kids in films like this, in this saga, and in other films too, just get him out. Get him out of my movie.
And my life.
Not my Mad Max.
I'm glad the kid was in there for his boomerang. In a weird way, just because it was funny watching that guy try and catch the weapon. Yeah, like that's one of the dumbest things you can catch. Yeah, apart from like a disease.
So, production.
I gave it a 9. I just said everything great.
Yeah, I've given it a 10.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what holds it back from a 10. I think it's just
justify that.
Well, I don't think you need to between a 9 and a 10.
No, I think you do.
Okay. If I want to justify
what is this film lacking in production for you?
Colour. Is the only thing I could think of.
I disagree.
I was put on the spot.
I disagree. The colour in this film is absolutely gorgeous. And that, so colour...
Incredible is fine. It's not perfect.
So what?
Okay, the music wasn't as good as other action films I've seen.
Yeah, maybe.
Something has to like it.
I don't know. I just really enjoy the music. I think it's good.
I enjoy it. Like 9 out of 10.
What are you saying about
is
Brian
one
May?
of the best. 9 out of 10. It was one of the best produced films.
Yeah.
It's just not like the best produced. It's not like in the very, very, very top. It's really good.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just written that I think it's one of the most beautiful and distinct and unique films that I've ever seen. I think the effects are incredible. The sets are perfect. There's so much storytelling, again, just in the sets of when you're in the sort of refinery town.
Yeah.
There's so much, just like every back of the shot, what's on the shelf tells you a story.
Yeah.
And you don't even just need to look at it. Just everything is so right for this world. And it's so like, you're just so immersed constantly in the world. The costumes are so iconic and they're weirder, which is so fun.
Yeah.
Like Max is a cop in the first one and he looks like a cop. Like their costumes are exaggerated because the world is exaggerated and the biker gang look the way that they do. But in this one, everyone is, it's turned up to 11. This one goes up to 11. They're all just going around in S&M gear the whole time.
Yeah, they are.
And it's like, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would. Like, how...
You're like, yeah, the side's falling apart. Of course I would.
Yeah. But they're
just
like...
waiting for it.
The leader... Oh, just you wait, baby. But the leader's like, how do I assert my dominance? I know, have my arse out the whole time.
That whole gang have their ass out the whole time.
The whole time. Rewatch.
Yeah. So this is a 10.
Yeah. A 10.
It's self-contained. Intros to the world, outros to the character, a little bit. Like by the end, you'll sort of go, I can finish there.
Yeah.
It's just a day in the life of this crazy world.
Yeah.
It's fast-paced. The story's easy to follow, but not boring.
Yeah.
Like it's not too simple that you're just kind of waiting for
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
There are stakes, and there are lots of moments that you would wait for. I think that's the other thing about what rewatching a film is you want constantly to be there thinking, I can't wait for this thing to happen in 5 minutes time or 10 minutes or like, and this has that where you just you're not like sat there from minute 20 to 50 going, I don't care about any of this. You are waiting for stuff every 10 minutes or so.
I've put a 10. This is so fun. It's, as you said, exciting, contained. It's fun. It has pathos, resolution, action, because it really does. The shining moments of Mad Max are the action, really. Some character moments work, but in this, the character moments also work really, really well, but the action is just incredible. And it's so fun. Again, it's short. It means that you don't have to watch Mad Max. Not that film's bad and not that we didn't enjoy it, but this is the rewatch. You watch this because you're like, well, if I want to watch a Mad Max film, do I want to watch Mad Max or do I want to watch him being mad?
It makes Mad Max
to the max.
Mad Max is redundant.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean from like the police force after his actions in Mad Max 1. Because that is a fireable offence, I think.
I think so, probably what he did. But, didn't have to wait around for too long for the entire collapse of society.
What a lucky break he had there. He was facing some heavy unemployment, and then instead it was just the
what do I do for the rest of my life? Oh, that was lucky, that's good. Yeah. I see a mushroom cloud on the horizon. Ha, phew. So, the M factor. What are we thinking?
It's another 10.
Yeah.
The last one, I think it was an 8 or a 9 I gave it, something like that, for M factor. This is just more of it.
Yeah.
This is why the series is iconic.
Yeah.
If this film was on the same quality as the other two, I don't think we necessarily would have got Fury Road.
No. I don't think that we would be doing this series.
Doing this. This is the reason that this is a real saga. I know we said that the last one's personality was why it was a saga, but this is why people remember it.
Yeah.
This is why it's not just a series of B movies that came out and no one remembered at all.
Yeah, yeah. That are like fondly remembered by some director. Yeah.
This is both good and with personality.
Yeah, I've given it a 10 as well. It is just so fun. This is one of the most M Factor things in the world. This film is exactly what the M Factor is about.
Yeah.
It really, really is. I mean, it is a whole living thing.
It is.
And that's one of the...
so strange for a world that's so dead.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so alive. Yeah.
You'll be very pleased to know the reviews are 93% from the critics.
Yeah.
Which is high.
That is high. That's from critics. Yeah. That's high.
What is bizarre to me is that it's only 86 for audience. I say only as if that's a terrible score.
No.
But I mean that because I think it's lower than Mad Max.
I think you're right. I think that was like 89. Yeah.
It was the highest grossing Australian film on release ever. I think it was beaten the same year by another one.
Oh, really?
I didn't even write down the film's name. I'd never even heard of it.
Yeah.
There's just another film come out that year that somehow beat it. But for like the 2 weeks that it was out, it was the highest grossing, which is impressive given that it is from a second-time director. So in the US, it wasn't marketed as a sequel. They didn't mention Mad Max.
Yeah, and I think that you could fully get away with that.
But like, it wasn't called Mad Max.
Was it just called The Road Warrior?
The Road Warrior.
Yeah.
So in Australia, it was just called Mad Max 2. In America, it was called The Road Warrior.
Yes.
That's why now we kind of use both.
Yeah, well, which is why, and we sort of were pointing towards it at the start of the movie. At the start of the movie, this is a film. No, at the start of the video of like, it's Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, which is, again, that's far too long of a title. I would much rather just call this The Road Warrior.
Yeah.
It'd be just Mad Max, The Road Warrior, Beyond Thunderdome. But they have to do that thing of like but it's a Mad Max film.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that at one point Furiosa was just going to be called Furiosa. And now they've added in like a Mad Max Saga.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey guys, and they've done the same.
It's the John Wick one. It's
the Ana de Armas.
It's like John Wick presents.
Yeah.
And I hope he presents.
He's there. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a great show for you tonight.
Mel Gibson only has 16 lines of dialogue in this film.
Really?
Yeah. And I read a second note, which is I wish he only had 16 lines of dialogue in real life.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of conservatism of what he says is great.
Well, and they do, so there's a lot of scenes. Well, like the one that I remember quite strongly is he's arguing with the mayor or the leader or whatever.
Yeah.
And the leader kind of says both sides of the conversation.
Yeah.
So Mad Max, I don't think has a single line in that scene.
Yeah.
He's just going somewhere.
And he's just still doing his thing.
Yeah.
And the mayor's like trying to interrupt him. And his like response is to just not respond and keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that's him saying, hey, here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. For context, everyone says about Tom Hardy in Fury Road. I think he says something like 57 lines in Fury Road, which is still really short for a main character.
Yeah.
But it's 57, not 16.
Yeah.
Which is tiny. Yeah. I've got some other sort of production-y facts. So Humongous was supposed to originally be Goose from Mad Max 1.
Really? Yeah.
If you watch it, you can sort of tell a little bit that's what they might be doing.
Yes, yeah.
Based on how the character looks.
Were they gonna like take off the mask at one point and it'd be like, oh. But then that would make the world feel too small. I'm really glad that they didn't do that, because I love that in these films a new villain comes in each time. It's one of the only sagas where there being a new villain each time actually makes sense.
Yes.
Because this world is very clearly full of villains.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah.
Like everyone's
like yeah, and even the good people, like the gyro captain could have been a villain.
Yeah.
Because of his early interactions, like he really is. And there's a film to be made from his perspective where Max is the villain.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it really, really makes sense that there's always this new person who's doing these things and has a similar kind of, well, I'm a cult leader and I look wackadoo. Like, and I've got this whole, like, I've built a society around my aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm like this, and so everyone else better be in line.
So I have a great arse. If you could all...
Yeah, you
debum.
Get them out.
Please.
Get them out, boys.
Yeah. They chose this location because it had not rained in about 5 or 6 years.
Right.
And they needed somewhere to be dry.
Yeah.
Because they just needed it to be dry, as we all do. And when they got there, it rained for the first time in about 6 years. And they had to stop production.
No. How long?
Like a couple weeks.
Yeah. Well, they all got like giant hair dryers out, or
I think the sun was probably the giant hair dryer.
Yeah.
But actually, it apparently was really cold where they were.
Yeah.
I don't know where they were. I don't know anything about Australia.
No.
But they must have been in like the cold, hot
Yeah.
desert part.
Yeah.
So Mel Gibson was freezing between all the takes, right? So he'd like, even in the leather,
Yeah.
looking hot, looking sweaty. As soon as they say cut, it's like get all the blankets on because it's
Yeah.
like 2 degrees or something.
Well, the desert is cold in the evening.
In the
Even
evening,
hot
yeah.
desert, it's cold, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, in the evening. But I don't know in the daytime. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just a weak man. So they added the gyro captain into this film.
Mm-hmm.
The character I think was going to exist in some capacity,
Mm-hmm.
but as a gyro captain flying man,
Yeah.
he only existed because George Miller wanted helicopter shots, like aerial views of things.
But what a great way to work that in.
So he's
It's
like,
so good.
So he wrote it in the script and then was like, oh no, I need him to fly.
Yeah.
So then the studio went, okay, fine, you can have a helicopter because you need it for the flying shots.
Yeah.
And then obviously just used it for normal, like what we would use drone shots for now.
Yeah.
And it's just a funny thing to
Yeah.
like, write a whole character just so you can get another camera angle.
So, I mean, what a great film. We obviously absolutely loved it. I think we both kind of know this is watch or not. This
We
is
both
going to be.
know.
This is this is one of the easiest watch or nots
Yeah.
ever. I think.
This is yes. Like do this instead of Mad Max. This is the whole. This is the reason Mad Max is a no. It's because this is the first Mad Max film to watch.
I've said the
factually.
same. It negates the need for Mad Max. So
Yeah.
this is a must watch, an essential watch anyway. It's just such a great film.
Yeah.
Well, there we are. We'll be back next time for another episode of Saga Wars. But please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps us here on the channel. But until then, goodbye.
Kids!
They would be killed. and I'm being serious. A Geiger counter.